Hello, this is a new web screencast about the features I implemented for the user interface. Since the last update I did. Currently we have the Finder fully implemented. Let me show how it works. There are a lot of draft things here. I think we will fill with something later. So we can choose cruise line, a ship, a cruise, and the specific date for the cruise. Also, we can navigate by the dates here, forward and backward. Also, it is possible for the cruise has different itineraries, and I will tell about specific implementation for this. Then we can have a price table. There are no prices yet because I just clean it up the price table during my testing. But you can see the signs of the alert signups. When we click on a cabin class, cabin type, or cabin category, we will see the alert signup modal dialog, where we can choose what kind of alert we want to have. Okay, so here it is. There is the alert. And when we click on the price, we can see the list of the price changes. Let me add some price so we will see how it works. So I need to add prices for the cruise at November 1st from 2020. Okay. November 1st, 2020. Here it's that sale. So let's add some prices here. You see, we have prices appears immediately in the user interface, and it is not how it should work in production, but for the testing purposes I updated the price change publish delay hours to 0. It let me see the new prices immediately after the change. Originally, this value is set to 84 hours, so 2 days. Okay, when we click on the price, we will see the history of the price changes from unavailable to new price. And for example, if we update the price here, you can see the user interface shows the price is increased. I see no changes here. That's strange. Probably it's because of some caching I do for the price table. Let me see what's wrong. I see. So there is a table for the prices, and this table is placed under the caching block. Here it is, and it is cached for the 1 day. This is a value in the seconds, and when the price is changed, the cache is doesn't update it, does it invalidated. This is a new bug I need to fix. Okay, nice to test something in manual mode and tell about it. So it's easy way to find something wrong. I didn't see this issue before. Okay, let me fill in that task for myself. Okay, so we can refresh the price table just by restarting the application. I didn't use any caching server here, so it just cached in the memory. Oh, excuse me. Okay, so now we should see the new price. Oh, we don't see it here. Pretty strange. It's really strange. I see. I stop the... Okay, let me restart the server from scratch. Okay, try again. Pretty strange. Okay, it should appear here. I don't understand why it doesn't show. So it is present here, but not there. Okay, I should check it. I should check it later. I will check it later. Okay, so let me continue my explanation. So a few words about itinerary list on this page, and it is related to the previous commit changes I did for the cruise itineraries list. Let me show. So we have a cruise page where we show the list of the cruises, list of the itineraries with itinerary with sales date under, and I take the itineraries from the unique itineraries. This is a custom property I add to to the cruise model. Originally, the cruise model has automatically binded variable with name. Just a second, let me find. So for the cruise, with the name itineraries, many to many. We don't have, so we have a link between the itinerary and cruise through the sail data model. And under the sail, here we have also automatically related name sails that should be present under every itinerary. And when we try to access itineraries by many to many from here, we have some problem. I didn't have this issue before in Django, but it's not just it's not exactly a bug, but it's a feature of the related to how it works, the object relational mapping of the Django. So let me try to change using of these unique itineraries to itineraries, and I will show what I am talking about. So under the cruise, let me iterate over all itineraries we have here. You see we have wrong results. Too much similar itineraries. I wondered why it happened and found some interesting thing. If we look at the itinerary, I have ordering set, but this ordering is not direct ordering of the itinerary table, because itinerary is just an ID and also create and update dates. And ordering goes through the sails, which is automatically binded by the sail object here, related name sails. So what it means? It means I want to order itineraries by the sail date from the other table, from the sales table. When I use this kind of binding through the related table, Django automatically do the join of the tables. And when I get a list of all itineraries in the cruise, here I get itineraries some itineraries appeared multiple times because we have different sale dates. So this is what we see here, and it is possible to remove this just by removing this ordering from the itinerary. So for example, if I comment out, comment out this ordering for itinerary, we will have just unique. Oh, sorry, it's not restarted probably. Okay, same result. So maybe it is it's happened also by some other reason. Maybe I also has this mapping somewhere else. Okay, anyway, I just wanted to explain what I did here in this change, why I needed to use ordered set. So I have all itineraries here, and create an ordered set with these itineraries, and just by this way I get unique itineraries list, because set includes only one instance of the object. Some workaround of that Django feature. So sometime when we use object relational mapping, we get a huge improvement of the development speed. But in some cases we may have some tricky problems to fight with in comparison with when we create all SQL queries manually. We get the full control of what we get on the as a result, but it takes more time. So sometimes it's better also for the performance to create SQL queries manually. Okay, so the next thing I want to tell about is the AlertSignup dialog. I thought about different ways how to implement it and decided to go a straight way, pretty old school way with the jQuery library. We already have binded with the Bootstrap, and I use here the modal component of the Bootstrap, an ability to open some HTML part inside the panel, dialog panel. And I put the form inside this panel, and as this form is should be dynamic, so we update these words and also values of the checkboxes and entry fields for different cabin class, type, category, etc. I implemented it with HTML subcomponent, with HTML Django subcomponent. Excuse me. Okay, and let me show how it works. Excuse me. So under the sale HTML, the sale HTML is the page we see when we select the specific date of the queries. We have a element with some Bootstrap properties with the form inside, and here you see some Django specific thing. This is a special token Django creates for every instance of the form to prevent cross-domain attack to the website. If we look at the HTML result, we can find what the HTML code we have translated to this CSRF token. So this is some unique value. And it let Django to validate we submit the form exactly from the form we sent to the user browser. This is one interesting thing about the Django, how it works with the forms. So it is customizable and can be turned it off, but by default it is working, and it is a pretty good thing because it's improve the security of the website. Then there are different ways to work with the forms in Django, and it also provides a way to render forms by the Django tools. But I found, for our case, I found more easy to hard code all the HTML elements manually. For example, we have all the checkboxes here, and also our custom input field for the down checkbox here, etc. So let me show how we can how the Django usually show the form by more easy, some simple way. So for example, if we put the form here, the form is a variable that contains the Django form. Let me refresh. Here it is. Django list all the fields, some default way. Not looking good. This is why I decided to hard code the HTML manually. This is a more flexible way to go. But I integrated some Django features inside this form. So for example, I used the Django form fields to show the input name, ID, value, etc. And the one new thing in our project related to this form is form for the AlertSignup data model. Django has really powerful tools for working with forms, and especially for working with model forms. So for models stored in the database. It looks pretty similar we have in the administration panels. So for our AlertSignup form, I declared what model we should work with and what fields we should have in the form, and that's all. And now we have the form that validate all the input related to this data model, to this AlertSignup data model with all these fields. In our view, we have two ways of working with the forms. At first, when we just get this dialog, we need to display the form. This is a get HTTP GET request, and for this GET request, I prepare the AlertSignup form with the alert instance. It can be for the existing alerts like this, I request the alert from the database by some hierarchy request. And for the case we create the new alert like this, I create the instance of the AlertSignup manually by filling all the fields, but it is not saved into the database, so it doesn't have an ID yet. but we can pass it to the AlertSignup form, and it will show all the values. For example, if I want to define some default price, for example, I can pass it here for the specific AlertSignup instance. Let's wait for the server restart and let's try again. We will have it here, you see. Okay, so it's pretty flexible way to work with. So we do not need to render or do some substitution in the HTML or in JavaScript. Django do everything for us right from the data model we have. Another piece of the workflow is when we submit the form. Okay, and this is a branch for the post, and you see I check for the get, and for all other branches, all other methods, I go to the in else branch. It is not the right way, because I should we can have all other HTTP methods here, for example, like a head or put or delete or some else. But why I go just by else here? Why it is safe here? It is safe because I added this decorator from the Django require HTTP methods, get and post. So this decorator let me be sure that this view function will be called only if we have get or post methods invoked. Get or post methods passed through the HTTP. And for the post, I create the same form with the same instance, but with the data from the post data. And if the form is valid, I save it and also do this HTML cache invalidation and return just a success result status no content. So why we just save the form? Because this is a model form, and when it is saved, the related instance for this form is saved also. This is how it works. Pretty easy. If we need to do some custom validation for this form, for example, I don't know, maybe so to check the values passed to the price or to nodes, etc., we can add some validation methods here into the form. Another things to tell about is the cache invalidation. I thought I had some issues with the performance of this page, especially when we have a lot of prices here and a lot of cabin classes, types and categories, like on some real cruise page for the real ship. And it can take some time to render this page, because we cannot retrieve all the data at the same query, or it is difficult to do with Django object relational mapping, because we have too many tables, and so it's pretty difficult. So instead of creating the manual SQL query that can solve this performance issue, I decided to go a different way. I decided to use Django caching library. And this is so Django caching library can cache the whole views content, the key values pairs, or any other stuff, even properties of the data models. And it also lets us to cache parts of the templates. This is what I have to do here. So I cache everything inside this block for 86,400 seconds with name price table, and there are two cache keys parameters: current sale ID and username. So for the different user and different sale ID, we will have different cache key here. And I can do some DB queries here that can works a bit longer, but after the next time on the next request it will work pretty fast, because it will be retrieved from the cache. Okay, but for example, when I add some AlertSignup for this sale and cabin class type and category, I need to invalidate this table, and I do this by invoking this method, invalidate price table cache. This is method function I created for sale ID and username, and what it do is just to calculate the key where the Django store the part of the cached HTML template. I do this with the make template fragment key method. This is a function from the Django, and I pass all the parameters, name, chunk name, and caching key parameters I have defined here. So this is a price table and sale ID and username. I get the key and I just delete it. And I should do the same thing for all the changes related to all this model, all these related models. Okay. So let me explain more about this dialog functionality. As I said, I choose to go with the old school jQuery way. With new modern JavaScript libraries, and especially with Elm language framework I taught at the beginning of the project, the jQuery code looks ugly. But I decided to go this way to show advantages of the other solutions I will apply later. So, what we have here? At first, we should react to the clicking of these links for the cabin class, cabin type, and cabin category. They looks like links, but they are buttons originally. So I add the event listener to click for the data target alert model these buttons have. And what I do here, I set the type and name and form action from these buttons. If we look closer to these buttons, we can see some properties. Data type, data long name, data URL, and data delete URL related to this cabin, ship cabin, and this data used to update this model form and model dialog and form inside with the actual parameters for the ship cabin. I also add some Ajax code here that retrieve the content of this dialog from the Django. So as you can see, I do the Ajax call by the URL from the button. If we look at the button URL, here it is. Data URL, yes. Finder, cruise line, ship, cruise, sail date, sign up with cabin class and cabin type and cabin category. This is a new view under our UI. Sign up. Here it is. And what it does, it prepare all the objects required to show the alert signup. So this is method I taught before with two passes for get and for post. And for the post, it just render the alert model HTML template with the form. And when we get this content here on the status code 200 HTTP success, I just put it as a HTML for the model body of this dialog, and I also update the statuses of the checkboxes, etc. I also need to so I also updated the words. So if we have existing alert signup, I set the update word as the title of the dialog. So for example, here we have update cabin type alert, and for the new we have create cabin type alert, and the same for the buttons, create, update, to improve the user experience a little bit. Also, we can delete existing alerts, and by default this delete button is disabled. You see, I cannot click, and for existing one we can delete. Yes. And I also add some interactivity. So for example, if the user clicks on any means we will respond on any price change. So we do not need to set any other alert types here. Also here is the handler for the delete. I take this URL from the delete button. If we look at the delete button, it has also some properties, extra properties. Just a second. How I get it? On click, delete. So we have it in the we have it here, data delete URL with different URL paths with delete word here. And different view function that handle only post methods and require user should be logged in. It find the alert, delete it, and invalidate the piece of cache. Okay, so what we have else here? We have also function for submitting the form, event handler for submitting the form. We prevent default handling when the browser will initiate the post request by itself. We do this by Ajax to show some errors if have some. So we just pass the data to server. So this is how it works. Okay, and there is one more change I did for our AlertSignup model I didn't talk about. So before we had alert type as enum. So every AlertSignup was intended to handle only one alert type. But I found it will be more useful to handle more than one alert type at one AlertSignup to reduce amount of the objects stored in the database. That just will increase the complexity of the database handling and user interface. So I changed it to add some flags for every type of the alert. And it also simplified how we query alert signups by the price change. So you see it's simplified a little bit shorter now. Okay, so I see what I have to work on. It's a issue with the price change here. It doesn't show, which is wrong. Okay, and I think it is all about the new user interface page. So we have the Finder implemented, and it will be ready as soon as I will fix that bug with the price change appears in the history. And for the testing purposes, I also added a list of the alerts, of the user alerts in the profile just for testing. I'm not sure we need this table in the real profile, but maybe it can be useful to let the user manage the alerts here. Okay, and I also fixed our unit tests. So now they are all passed successfully. Yes. And I split the settings for the production, or we can say for staging, what we have on the Amazon instance. For my local testing and development purposes, and I also created test settings. This is useful for running tests. It works with the SQLite and has 0 delay hours to let tests work smooth with testing price changes, as I do, the same way as I do for local testing. But for our staging, we use Postgres and do not overwrite this price change delay that is in the project requirements. Okay, so I think this is all about recent changes. I'm still thinking about to update this AlertSignup dialog with some component framework like Elm, maybe. I didn't decided to go this way yet. I need to do more testing, and if I will find more issues, I think I will rewrite this with the Elm, also to show advantages of this way, because actually the jQuery, if we look at this code, is pretty tricky. So we need to remember the IDs of the elements, and we need to react of the updates of something and do some helpers, invoke some helpers, etc. That's pretty tricky for even for this simple user interface. So maybe I will rewrite it with Elm later, but at first I will do more testing and do the bug fix. Okay, so this is all for now. Thank you.